We cannot overstate the gravity of this moment. I've been a humanitarian worker, a worker also in human rights and in peacemaking all my life. Since I started as a volunteer in Colombia, Latin America at the age of 19. I've been with Amnesty International, with the Red Cross, with the United Nations, where I was the Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and the Emergency Relief Coordinator. I was also the State Secretary, Deputy Foreign Minister of Norway for 7 years, where I led Norwegian humanitarian and peacemaking efforts. And of late, I've been in the Norwegian Refugee Council, which is one of the world's largest organizations for and with displaced people in conflict zones all over the world.
What would you say will be the effect of the current geopolitics, the shifts in the world today in relation to humanitarian aid?
We cannot overstate the gravity of this moment, because at the same time as needs are exploding, there are well over 120 million people who have been displaced from their homes because of violence and conflict. It's 3 times the number that was there in 2011. And at that time, the biggest donors are cutting aid, led by the United States, but also Germany, United Kingdom, other European countries, Sweden, have been reducing their humanitarian assistance at this moment when the needs are at their greatest, which again means that the gap between needs, objective needs, people starving, people not having shelter, not having help treatment when they have epidemic disease, etc. The gap between those needs and available resources have not been bigger in my 40 years as a humanitarian worker.
We can't keep doing the same things. The resources are shrinking. At least the official development and humanitarian assistance is shrinking. What should be done? How can we rethink aid in the coming years? What would be the main things to do?
Yeah, I think we have to become more effective, more efficient with the resources we have, but we also have to fight for a minimum of solidarity with the world's most dispossessed. I see now that the NATO countries basically say they will spend 5% of their gross national income on armaments and strategic infrastructure. 5%. At the same time, they're not able to have 0.2% for the starving children of the world, for the children who are out of school, who may be displaced, who may be in migration and in turmoil and in uproar. In only a few years, it would be a historic strategic mistake to not invest in hope for the world's youth, and it would undermine the very stability that the 5% goal is trying to achieve.
One of the reasons we're launching this initiative, Cordée, is that there is skepticism in the public about aid agencies, and there's confusion. There's a perception that reality is being distorted, that truth is difficult to find. Do you think social media could be part of the answer? Is this one way to increase the solidarity, this movement of solidarity?
Yeah, I think social media is both part of the problem and part of the solution. part of the problem in the sense that all of these myths are spreading. It's not effective and it's not efficient. Well, I'm an eyewitness that it is effective and efficient to invest in school for the children in the Sahel, not so far from the Mediterranean, in the Middle East, in Myanmar, in Colombia, all over. It's a tremendously effective and efficient investment because you give hope to the whole community, you avoid people being illiterate and unproductive, and you invest in a better future stability. You invest in hope. At the same time as I believe that we could then use social media to explain our successes. It's not all bleak, it's not hopeless. We can help people very effectively. So my organization has 15,000 people working as humanitarian worker. Nearly all of them are in the front lines of humanity. We help nearly 10 million displaced people, 10 million, with either food, with shelter against the elements, with those who are homeless. We have more than 1 million children in education. We are providing water and sanitation, which is preventing epidemic disease. We are giving birth certificates where there is none, so that people do not get stateless. We give identity cards to people who have lost it in the flames so that they can get work. We're helping people with house, land, and property so they can become productive. All of that is extremely effective and extremely efficient. And if you don't want your children to grow up in a world of massive injustice and massive instability, turmoil, strife, you want to support investment in aid.
Do you think that there's a way to counteract the erosion of humanitarian principles of independence, impartiality, neutrality, humanity? Do you think those are being eroded by these myths on social media and media generally? Is there a way, is there anything we can do to help promote these principles?
Yeah, I think it's important now to explain why international humanitarian work for 150 years has had to be neutral, impartial, independent of the armed groups and of the governments in the region. If we are seen as pro-Israel or pro-Hamas in Gaza or in Palestine, we cannot do our work. We're not taken seriously by the local populations, and one of the two parties will attack us. We have to be independent. We have to be neutral. We have to not neutral in an immoral sense.
Yeah,
we're partisan for the people, for the victims, but we're not against this political party or pro that political party. We're not against government forces and pro rebels or vice versa. That's common sense in a war zone, and it's so strange now that many believe that no, aid has to be taking side and it has to push an agenda or a leftist or a rightist agenda. We will never do that. We cannot do that if we are to be effective and efficient for people in great need.
But at the same time, it's getting more difficult, would you say, to be partisan for the people, which is a very good expression.
No, yeah, I mean, let me admit that the mood of this time is not good. There is a lot of nationalistic winds, xenophobic winds blowing across Europe, the United States, many Asian countries, where people believe, no, we need to keep all of our riches to ourselves. I need to be stronger and richer myself, my family. No, I mean, the ideals of the major religions, of humanity, of international law, of human rights are being trampled upon by those who want to say, no, it's everybody, it's everyone for themselves now.
Is there anything you could reflect from the General Assembly meeting that you attended in New York about these wins, and any signs of hope, any positive signals?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's I've been in and out of the United Nations now for a generation. Again, it's one of the bleakest moments. It's compared to the Cold War, before the fall of the Berlin Wall, where everything was because of great power rivalry. We're in many ways back to that now. But it was also a good thing to see that still 150 heads of government and state come to New York to discuss international challenges and say that they are still committed and want to have the United Nations involved and want us to help save lives. So there is still a great majority of peoples and countries who wants to keep up compassion, solidarity, investment in hope for those who need it the most.
You know, I can't help asking you, there's a lot of reporting and there's a big burden on monitoring and evaluation. What should be done differently for evaluation? How should they change so that this message comes across more strongly? I personally believe evaluation reports are not read. When I tell people I'm an evaluator, they don't know what I mean.
I think what we need are much more the rapid real-time reports from successes in the field. Look at this school. It's now filled with children. They are happy. They are smiling. They are learning. This is the image of the same school half a year ago when NRC started to rehabilitate it. It's empty. It was burnt out. There was nothing here. That kind of feedback is needed. We have enormous evaluation and monitoring and reporting and auditing that our donors require. That really is an enormous paper mill, and I don't know how much really it achieves. At times I feel I should write a book. Everybody died, but our paperwork was fantastic. I mean, we need to be there, and we're not for too many communities because we have no resources at the time being. It's not a lack of quality control. It's a lack of resources that is our main problem now.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was really good.
Thank you, and good luck with your thing, Marie. Hope you'll succeed in this.